I was going to actually ask how many of you have heard of the Steering Council? Okay, lots of good hands. And how many of you actually know what the Steering Council does? Okay, yes, Carol. So that's what we're going to talk about today, to try to give some insight into what the Steering Council does and how we operate. This is who we are. I'm Barry. Unfortunately, Emily could only stay for the first day, so she's not here with us today. We have Pablo, Greg, and Donghee. That's who we are. And so what is it like we actually do? This is all paraphrased from PEP 13. If you actually can go and read the details of PEP 13, it gives you much more detail about the responsibilities and mandate of the Python Steering Council. But very briefly, one of the most important things that we do is accept and reject Python enhancement proposals. So these people from the grassroots of Python development submit proposals for evolving the language. And it's sort of our responsibility in many ways to maintain the quality and stability of the language and the CPython implementation by evaluating these. We certainly work with the Python Software Foundation to manage all the assets of the project. And whenever possible, and I think we are largely successful at this, we seek consensus, both amongst ourselves and with the community. That's generally what we try to do. We also attempt as much as possible to delegate the decision. So if we don't have to make it, that's great. We can actually find a PEP delegate, as we like to call it, which is usually an individual expert in the community or a group, and delegate those decisions to them. One of the other things that we do is there's a process described in PEP 13 for electing new Python core development members, people who have the rights, the commit bit, to actually make changes to CPython. And one of the last things that we do, there's a vote that comes up, and then we get a chance to veto it, or almost always not veto that election. So how do we actually do this? Well, we typically meet once a week, and we'll meet for 90 minutes. I think we started with 60 minutes, and that was clearly not enough. So now we meet for 90 minutes. Probably in a couple of years, it'll be meeting 24 hours, you know. We do regular syncs with Deb, who is obviously the PSF executive director, and Luca Schlanga, who represents the developers in residence, and is also a banana. And we have office hours. We conduct office hours, and office hours really are open to everybody. So if you want to come and talk to us during our meeting times, you can go to this GitHub, and it has instructions for signing up for office hours. And I know that we've found it super helpful, especially during the times where we're deliberating on PEPs, to have those PEP authors come and meet with us to talk about things, you know, in a little bit higher bandwidth environment. The cadence of the way we work is very seasonal. So if you're familiar with the sort of annual Python release process, we just had beta 1 for Python 3.14 just recently, a week ago, I think, or a week or two ago. So leading up to that beta 1 process, it's very PEP focused for us. We're really trying to get through the PEPs and deliberate about what's going to be in the next version of Python, and often sometimes deferring those or rejecting those. But because beta 1 is a feature freeze release, we need to get those in. Those are very timely. We need to make those decisions before beta 1. After beta 1, we're very concerned with release stability. We're all sort of moving ahead to try to get from beta 1 to the final release as much, you know, with as high quality a release as possible. We also have, as I mentioned, our GitHub. We have lots of issues and other business that isn't sort of tied to that annual release process. So after beta 1 is a really good time for us to discuss those things. And then a release happens and the world rejoices, we rejoice, and there is a process for electing a new steering council after that release. And so that's what we work on as well. One of the most other important things that we do is we spend PSF money. And oh, there we go. Okay, Greg will take it from here.
All right. So those of you who know what the steering council is, maybe you actually know we do some of this. This still, I mean, I've been doing this for a few years, but this still just kind of blows my mind. This is even a thing we get to do. We have developers in residence. Is that developers in residences? I don't even know. It gets plural. But that's the great thing. So, no, our developers in residence program, our security developer in residence, you've seen Seth up on the stage multiple times throughout the conference already. And then we also have our annual core developer sprints, which are basically like 6 months off of this. So we have one coming up in Cambridge in the UK, which I believe is late September, October-ish. I obviously haven't planned my travel. These are a time for us to get together and as a team for as many core devs who can actually attend, and we do the like travel grants and all that kind of funding, focus just solely on CPython together for a week. It's really hard for us to do that at a PyCon because we have like 20 million different squirrels of attention, to go chase throughout the conference. So that's kind of the alternate version of a sprint versus what we're going to see, coming up. So our developers in residence, Lukasz Lenga, Peter could not be here, and Siri can't be here. Seth, you've seen on stage. We're a team now. Like, this actually feels really great. And from the steering council point of view, the cool thing is, we sync up with Lukasz. We don't actually micromanage anyone here. We would never want to do that. We're volunteers. We don't spend a whole lot of time on this. These are basically people we recommend to hire and continue spending money on. And the types of conversations we're going to be having are, can we hire more? What roles do we need to fill? So those are continual, ongoing type of things. The core team sprints, I basically just already covered kind of some of that, but really these things, I think it was actually Lukasz in 2016 who started the first one of these, if I remember right. I'm seeing a vague hand. Yes, okay, great. Bright lights. That just kind of became a thing. We started one and we had another one, and now we just do them forever because these turned out to be really useful because it was actually time to get work done. So funding that has been great. Good thing. Speaking of sprints, we have sprints at PyCon tomorrow. They're a little bit different. New this year, we're actually trying to get more team members in to doing CPython type stuff. We are having a dedicated room for first-time contributors because we find our room gets way too crowded and we start having issues with just too many people and things not going well. So we're going to try and have a dedicated first-time come see us room as a side for the people trying to do a focus sprint, which I don't even know how you managed to do at PyCon. Yay. The sign-up boards, I believe, are actually posted out there, and I saw a bunch of people writing their things down, so you'll see them in the hallway. Sprints. Core developers, developers in residences, these things require big funding. Like, we have people who are basically employees of the PSF doing actual engineering work. They need engineering kind of money. Sustained funding like this, yes, we can all chip in, that does great, but we really also need big sponsors. We have had numerous big sponsors contribute to this. I think we're in a reasonable financial state, which Deb can represent better than I can off the top of my head. But this has to keep going on. You don't want to say, oh, we'll pay an engineer to do something for 6 months and then you don't have money anymore. That's not good for either side. So our goal is to actually keep this sustained, keep it so that we can actually pay people to be improving Python infrastructure, security infrastructure, and so on. So yes, shilling for money from the PSF. You've heard this a lot at PyCon. There's a reason. Do it, donate. Standard landing page for all the donations, grants, everything there. It's well worth doing. This is some of the stuff it can fund. When it goes into the PSF, they do all our money management and nonprofit business stuff. That's their primary role here. You can have things earmarked for core development if you want. I'm sure they prefer things in general fund, but talk to them. They'll sort out what kind of donation makes sense if you're talking about that kind of thing, especially for big ones. So passing on councils and working groups. Donghee?
Thanks, Greg. Just let me continue from here. We just heard from Greg how funding helps sustain the Python core team and ecosystem. And I introduce the working group and council that are shaping the Python in 2025 behind the scene. The first, the documentation editor board. This group is maintaining the Python documentation that many of us depends on every day. They manage the official documentation, developer guide, and translation into other language. Their goal is to keep the documentation clear, accurate, and beginner-friendly. 2025 members is Marietta Wijaya, Ned Batchelor, Joanna Ablonsky, Guido Van Rossum, Carol Willing. Next, the CAPI working group. This team is focused on the Python CAPI, which is very important for the performance and the building C extensions. They review and pre-approve the PAPs related to CAPI, help the guide community the decision, and plan the short and long-term changes. 2025 members are Aaron Aslan, Michael Drepum, Petra Victorin, Sarah Strostaka, Steve Doer, Victor Steiner. And finally, Typing Council. The Python type system has grown a lot, and their focus is keep typing, usable for real-world programming, usable by developers all levels, and stable across the Python versions. 2025 members, Eric Trout, Carl Mayer, Ella Jarastra, Rebecca Chen, and Yuka Leotoslo. The group I shared today are guiding the direction of the future of Python, and thanks for listening. I'll hand it over to Pablo.
All right. Who is excited about Python 3.14? Wow. Before this section, I owe some explanation for this. So Hinek, the author of the Others Python library, promised to donate $100 to the PSF if I wear this on the keynote, and he did, so, nice. Thanks. Yeah. Public humiliation is always cool. All right, so I'm going to cover some of the new features of Python 3.14. So Python 3.14 has a lot of stuff, and it's just impossible to squeeze everything on the keynote. It will be a disservice to the work that everyone does. So what is here is to some extent the biggest ones, but I encourage you to go to the Python 3.14 what's new and just go there. We put a lot of effort to keep that page up to date and to explain to you why should you be excited about the features. But here is a sneak peek of what is in store. So let's go. Oops, yeah, we totally didn't reuse this slide. All right. Cool. So the first thing is PEP 649 and PEP 749, the fair evaluation of annotations. This is kind of funny because every year we say, yeah, this year you will not need from future import annotations, and it's always a lie because, stuff happens. But this time, now you don't need from future import annotations. Wow. Wow. Amazing. This was super hard. So a lot of work, good work went there. Very cool. Then we have PEP 741. So this is only if you are doing hacky things with CPython, like embedding it and configuring it and whatnot. But we added a bunch of new CAPI functions that allow people that are embedding Python. For instance, this happens on Blender. Blender embeds Python. I think LibreOffice embeds Python. There's a bunch of places. So those people are in the need of these things, and we are trying to make their life easier. So of course, this will affect a very small set of you, but if you are one of them, you will be very excited about it. Cool. Wow as well. Nice. A big one, we have PEP 750 template strings. So this is quite cool. Wow. So this is not yet another way to format the strings like some people are saying. No, this is cooler. This is a cool thing. So this thing is a way to, it's like F strings, but it basically allows you to get a way to introspect the thing. And the way you will use this is that you will use this with functions that allow you to receive these template strings and format them. For example, imagine that you want to format some HTML code. So normally if you have a string with the template and then you substitute the value, you expose yourself to some injection attacks. For instance, in this case, if you blindly put this evil string on the HTML, you will force the HTML to show a pop-up or whatever. But with template strings, people can implement new functions like this HTML function that can properly escape this thing in a safe way. And this applies to HTML, but also to SQL and many other things. It's a way to build domain-specific languages. So you will use this in combination with these new things that need to be built on top of it. But we are very excited because this is a super new way to do things and in a much safer way, and allows a lot of library authors to build this DSL. So at the very end, you can use Python in a more ergonomic way, which is always what we want. So very excited about this, and a lot of good things will happen. Well, yeah. Well, nice. All right. So another way, for example, is you could use it with this example. Cool. Another cool thing that we have is this PEP768 Safe External Debugger Interface for CPython. So this is another function that people will use to implement better debuggers and profilers. So this is a way for the interpreter to tell another interpreter to execute a bunch of stuff. The way this will be used is to allow tools to basically attach to the interpreter and tell it to do something else. The way you will actually use it in 3.14 is with remote PDB. So now PDB has this -p argument, and you will be able to basically pass a PID of a process, and without stopping the process or restarting the process, you will be able to inspect what the hell is going on, which is really, really cool because, restarting process is really hard. This was one really hard, and we are super excited for you to use it. Awesome. I think, do you want to cover this?
Hey, I'll take this one. Z Standard has quickly become basically the best-in-class compression algorithm in the industry. It's been adopted, I believe it was just recently added into Chrome and possibly other web browsers. But we want it for packaging. We want people to use it because it's modern, it's more efficient. You can get better compression ratios, you can get faster stuff. We're actually putting it in the standard library. You've had, I think, 3 different choices of modules to install from PyPI that would do this for you, but this is one of these things where we feel like it's very core to the world. It needs to be a battery, so we're adding it. So that comes in 3.14. Someone this morning in Lightning Talk said cats made things better, so I just started sprinkling them throughout the presentation whenever I started editing slides today. Gotta have them. Z Standard also gets plumbed through into the tar file and zip file and shutil module in the places you might expect. These are places it will be useful. I think, the feature is in. I think the documentation PR is still ongoing, so it might not show up in the 3.14 beta 1 docs as of last night, but I didn't look to see if that's been merged yet. That's probably going to happen during the sprints, is my guess. I want to give a shout out to Emma, who may be in the room here. She is at PyCon. Emma is the person behind this PR and getting all the work done to do this implementation and into CPython. Woo! So, yay, Z Standard. And I believe I pass this back to Pablo.
All right. This is a funny one. So, when you have this try except and then you have several exceptions, it's all good, but you see those parentheses around the exceptions, turns out that you cannot skip those. It's kind of annoying. So now you can. Awesome. This needed a pep, it's changing syntax, so.
Use your magic pointer.
Yeah, kind of cool, yeah. All right. Looks easy, but it was a bit hard. Cool, more stuff. We have a lot of better error messages. So people love this, and we are putting even more. Awesome. So for instance, now in Python 3.14, if you make typos on keywords, now it will suggest the correct keyword. Nice. So something I need to say is that this has been overwhelming because most of these error messages have not been implemented by us, but they have been implemented by a lot of the community. These are from people teaching Python, people using Python for the first time. So either they have gone into the actual nitty-gritty details of implementing them or suggesting new ones or telling us when I teach Python, these things happen and it will be great to get a better one. So this has been a super great thing to do, and this has been thanks to all of you. So thank you very much for contributing to this. The language is much better because of it. So again, there is a lot of new better error messages, but I'm going to show you some just as an example. So for example, in Python 3.14, now if you do unpacking and you don't have enough arguments, it will tell you which arguments it was expecting and how many you got, which can be very hairy if you have an iterator and not just 4. Right now, for instance, if you have a string, but in the middle of the string you use the same quotes just because you forgot, that was a very nasty, weird error message, and now it does suggest that maybe you should use a different string there. That was cool to implement, actually. Now it will tell you, if you write conditionals wrong, it will tell you that it was expecting conditionals. For instance, if you use incompatible string prefixes, it will tell you that they are incompatible instead of complaining about the letter itself, which is kind of funky. And then another thing that we really are really proud about is that if you are using async.io, it was kind of a bit difficult to know what an async.io program is doing. So imagine that you're running some async.io program and it's not printing anything, and you want to know what the hell is going on. So to this day, this was a really difficult question because async.io is kind of this other world. So if you try to use any of the existing tools now, it was kind of difficult to know because it just tells you implementation details of the event loop. But in Python 3.14, we are shipping this new async.io PS3 and PS functions, and you can pass the PID of a running Python process, and it will print you this beautiful tree representation of all the tasks that are happening in your program. So if you're downloading files, it will show all the downloading files. If you have a fast API server, it will tell you all the connections, so you can know what is going on. And the idea is that this is also another building piece that we want to build upon, and we can be like profilers for this or other state inspection tools. So this is quite cool, but there is a lot of cool things that will come after this. Totally bananas. Yes, yes. Thank you. Awesome. And then we have this, which is quite cool. So if you are in the exclusive club of people that use Clan 19 or more, you can configure Python with this new flag, and we'll use a new kind of interpreter. Like the details are a bit hairy for the keynote, but the idea is that this is a way to get a 5% to 6% free speed up. Obviously, this will involve configuring Python and building Python yourselves, which most of you won't do. But we expect that most people building Python, such as the people at Astral with the Python standalone project, or the people building Python in distributions, will actually use this and just get this 6%. So this is just a free 6% speed up in the Python interpreter. It involve a lot of technical work, but we were very excited about it. So that's kind of nice. All right. And now I have a cool one by the developer in residence, Gukesh Langa, that he will be very excited about. Now, in Python 3.14, the REPL has colors. Wow. Amazing, amazing. Exquisite. Awesome. Sorry, it's a bit difficult with it. All right, so free threading, serious business. All right, so free threading. So first, let me clarify some confusion because a lot of people are going around. So free threading is still a non-officially supported feature. Oh, but we are working towards it. This is a big thing, right? So it's a big thing. We are putting a lot of effort. The whole community is putting a lot of effort. But as we said last year, we want to be really careful here. We owe this to the community to not create another Python 2.2.3 situation, right? Right now it's not happening, but a lot of people kind of maybe confusingly from the previous keynote or something like that, think this is a thing that now is is a thing, you can use free thread. So you can do it, and we encourage you to do it. You should, and you'll tell us what it doesn't work, but we're working towards it. So let's talk about the situation. So between Python 3.13 and Python 3.14, so free thread actually was slower when you activate the free thread interpreter. So it's just a bit slower. All in a single thread. So you use multiple thread, it's much faster because it scales with the number of threads, but in a single thread, it was a bit slower. So since Python 3.13, this is no longer that bad. So it went from 40% slower to 2 to 5% slower, which is really good. Yeah, very cool. A lot of work went into this, so a big applause to everyone working on that. All right. Turns out that a bunch of things needed to be fixed because if you use stuff that is not thread safe in a multiple thread environment, things go kaboom. So we are removing kabooms in the standard library. It's kind of responsible. And then there is a lot of internal details that I think we need to figure out for people to interact with the new cool world of free threaded. And since Python 3.13, we have put a lot of effort to ensure that the Python C API adapts to it. So we are very close to that. So this has been possible thanks to a lot of contributors, so mainly from Meta, but also other contributors for other companies like OneSide and Anaconda and many other people. So this slide shows a lot of the contributors there. I asked them to provide the actual slide, so if someone is missing, it's their fault, not mine. But probably some people will be missing. So as you can see, since last year when we announced that we were putting a lot of effort into this, this has been an overwhelming experience. Like this has been going much, much better than we expected, and we are very excited to see all the good work that has gone into this, not only from people kind of like contributing to the standard library, but from the community itself. Like a lot of packages, for instance, in the Python scientific ecosystem, have put a really, really hard effort to ensure that they provide like free-threaded builds that people can test and tell them what is not working. And like a lot of work has been doing to ensure that those libraries, are safe to use in a free-threaded environment. And this is a huge amount of work. It's really tricky, and we are delighted to see like all the effort that people are putting into this. So that is really, really cool to see. All right. So,
and thank yourselves, because it's really the community that's making this happen.
All right, so what is the future of this thing? So Thomas, I think Sam and other people from Meta, so I will read it, but it's very small, sorry. Put this PEP. So we said that in last year that we wanted to have like different phases for support for three-threaded. So the original support stage was considered experimental, which means that we are building towards it, but at any point, if we believe that this is getting too complex or it's kind of not working, or it's going to be impossible, we could like decide to go back and maybe not doing it. Then we said that if things go well, we go to kind of like a state like supported but not final. But at the very end, eventually, we want to only provide one single Python that hopefully is just free-threaded, right? So there has been some, we purposely made this thing very ambiguous because that's the way to not, commit to something. You just make it ambiguous and let the community figure it out. Anyway, so the community is figuring it out. So these people have put PEP 779, trying to formalize a bit what it means to go from experimental to supported. So we have yet not accepted or rejected this PEP, but I wanted to give some comments on this. So we believe that free-threaded Python is the future. So we think that this should not be considered experimental anymore. We want to really invest on this because the community is investing on this. This is still, just to be very clear, it's not an official pronouncement on the PEP. This doesn't mean that we have officially moved stage. Among other things, because we say that this will take many years, this is moving faster and better than we thought it was going, but we still want to make it, we want to ensure that we are doing it correctly. But we want to publicly say that we do believe in the current steering council that this is the future of Python and that the community clearly has a lot of hunger for this and is working towards it. So it will be like a disservice to not call it like what it is. So yes, and we hopefully will pronounce on this PEP when we finish the discussion very soon. So stay tuned. All right. And finally, if you want to use free-threaded Python, or if you maintain any C extension or anything that will interact with it, we are putting a lot of effort also on the documentation. So we have several guides on how to port your extension modules to the free-threaded world and the kind of things that you need to be aware of, and like how the free-threaded world will differ, and also for users, because like this opens a new paradigm, which is notoriously complicated. So you want to certainly read if you have no experiences with multiple threads that are free-threaded and you don't have the protection of the guild anymore. So we are putting a lot of content, and the community is working really hard to have a lot of different ways for you to learn about how to port your things and how to ensure that your code is safe. In the future, we also want to create new tools and give to the community a lot of ways to ensure that their code is safe and they can test it in their CI, because this is a notoriously hard thing to do. So stay tuned to all the things that we are going to do with this. So again, go back to Python 3.14, the what's new. There is a lot more stuff. This is just, it's 1 minute left. So as you can see, like I cannot just cram more stuff here. But we are super, super excited. We believe that Python 3.14 is the best Python that we have released so far, and we are super excited for you to try it. Thank you very much. All right. So last thing, the beta 1 is out now. Go and test it. Tell us about all the bugs, please. The actual release will be in October, so you have a lot of months to tell us that we broke a lot of things. Be nice, please. Please move, because like as you can see, not only there is a lot of exciting features, but like it's much better to teach. There is colors in the REPL. That's kind of cool. And we think that this is a very important stepping stone, especially for the free-threaded thing. So the more you test it and the more you tell us what doesn't work, the more we can fix it and the faster we can go, and the more we will know how to move forward. And that's it. I hope you have enjoyed this part of the presentation. Cool.
And thank you. This is a community effort.